Go to stnutrition.com, save 10% off, use the code STRONG, STRONG, and, let's get it going. It's Christmas time. Save some money on the supplements that you need for your health and for the longevity of your life, and give one to a loved one, this Christmas, and keep them around for a while. stnutrition.com. Check it out. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Strong Tower Podcast. So this week we have the owners of Delaware Chiropractic. If you haven't been there, I suggest you check it out because the things that they can do with your back and adjustments, whatever, if you're having neck issues, if you're having, as we talk about, Dr. John had ear issues, and that's what, actually pushed him to want to be a chiropractor. So if you haven't been there, I suggest you check it out. And these two, they work together. They go through the walk of life together, the walk of faith together. And it was just an awesome conversation and be able to talk to them. And without further ado, here they are, Dr. John and Jimmie Glenn. It's my foundation. It's my faith. It's my work ethic. It's my drive. It's everything that I've tried to build for myself that has made me who I am. I'll do what it takes to make you believe. I mean, I've had a bunch of different people on, and I love it. I love just talking to so many different people. I have people tell me like, oh, you need like one thing, you need a niche where you talk about it all the time. And I started out that way, talking about health and fitness, and I was just like, oh, this is boring. Just talking about it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I'm into so many things. Like, yeah, I was into bodybuilding. But now I get into photography and video and music and all these different things of life. And faith has been a big thing in my life just these past couple years. Because even though I grew up in church, I grew up in Christian school, doing that kind of I tried to stay away from all of it because I grew up doing that.
Yeah.
So just within these past, I would say 2 years, God just kept tugging on my heart, and I just gave up, and I was like, hey man, you got it, take it. And like, I've been happy. I used to have a lot of anger issues. I learned how to control those, and just so many different things have changed in my life, all because of, my growing relationship with Christ, and it's been crazy. But that's one of my questions for you guys is like, have you been in it your whole life, or like how did it come into your life, your faith?
Gotcha. Do you want to go first, or do you want me?
Sure. Yeah. Well, similar to you, I grew up going to church. I knew, but I didn't. So I knew the way, but I didn't apply it to my life. And so I struggled through college, made a lot of poor decisions, and lived with a lot of anxiety, not peaceful at all inside. I mean, my personality on the outside, probably a lot of people may not have known that I was struggling on the inside, but I was. So I gave my life to the Lord when we got married. Shortly after we got married, we moved to Wilmington, and I was like you. I just kept feeling the tug. Like, I knew, thankfully, my parents, I grew up in church, so I at least knew where to go. But I was like, Lord, I need you. And that's basically what I said. My life just completely changed.
Wow.
Absolutely. Now I see God in everything, and I'm truly grateful.
That's awesome.
How about you?
Well, I was fortunate. I had world-class parents. They were really dedicated. They showed me what a life of faith was like. I went to Christian schools, and they were involved in church and those sort of things. So I was shown, thankfully, how, a life for a responsible adult is supposed to look. But like most kids, you're not particularly interested in immediately emulating your parents,
right, yeah.
So, and as a young man, it's all, bravado and ego, and I can do anything if I work hard enough at it. So you work to achieve your goals, and then when you achieve a certain degree of success, you set about doing things and buying things that are proof of your success. And that's if you're smart, you'll learn that that's a pretty empty road pretty fast. So I guess it was probably about 15 years ago that I finally got baptized, turned my life towards Christ. But like any new relationship, my relationship was shallow. It wasn't immediately. Some people, it's an immediately a deep relationship with Christ. I didn't work that way. It's very shallow. It started out as one of those typical "what can you do for me" type relationships, right, and then it had to grow from there. And I had to learn that sometimes it's a matter of how can I be a benefit to the body of Christ, not just having my own prayers answered, if that makes sense. So it's been a slow growth process for me, but well, I'm a work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, and growing up in church and going to Christian school and stuff, like, yeah, you always have that seed planted in the back of your mind. But was there a moment in your life where you're just like, you know what, I just need to just give it up, and because I can't do everything, I just need to let God take the reins?
Yeah, it was probably, for me, it was probably 7 years ago, I guess it was, when you got sick. Was it? So my wife had a health challenge, I guess about 7 years ago. And that was truly the point where I can remember texting one of my friends, just saying that we had 2 young kids. And I can remember texting one of my friends saying, I can't do this without her, and that was where I really had to deepen my faith and, make it much more of not just, benefiting me, but how can I be a benefit to the people around me? How can I look after my kids effectively? How can I look after my wife? So, when you're being held to the ropes like that and your back's against the wall, sometimes that's when you really bend a knee. And that was the defining moment for me.
What about you, Jimmie?
Well, yeah, it was definitely like right after we were married, and just we worked a lot growing our business. It grew very fast. We were blessed, and but there wasn't a balance. We worked a lot, and so we were kind of like, I just felt like there was, like, I was around approaching 30, thinking about a family, but we had a business, we're working so many hours. And I just kind of realized that there was more to my life than working. I wanted my purpose. And I love people, and but at that moment, I think that was the moment where God showed me, well, the pregnancies with the kids, that, okay, it's time. He showed us. We didn't plan it. He showed us, okay, it's time, because you guys are just going to keep working until you're 80. So yeah, I would have to say that was right around that period, about 10 years ago. I started realizing his purpose for me. And then when I got sick with a tumor, that also kind of brought forth more of a purpose of wellness, helping people be proactive, just with their faith, with their relationship with the Lord, but also just making better decisions, with their life. So yeah, just different things along my journey, kind of like, I don't know if it was just one moment. It was just, one thing built upon another, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Oh, completely. And also, like, with your, you mentioned your business and stuff, like, talk about your business a little bit. And also with that, do you see any, I don't know, if you would see like backlash or anything because you're people of faith or anything like that?
You know what's interesting? Not at all. In fact, we see lots of people, many different faith, religion, lack of whatever. But God is so big and so good. I feel as though like we don't let me see how I can put this. I feel like we show people more than we say.
Okay.
That's at least how we try to. I feel the light in our office with our staff, with it's hard to put in words, except that I truly feel that God's presence in our office without us even saying it. People know and they'll ask. I've had people ask me, "Are you a prayer warrior?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I am." They're like, "I can tell." So that meant a lot to me that they could just tell, that I didn't have to let them know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
And so when people come in our office, ever since day one, because he and we're not from here, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt a little homesick when I first moved here. And I knew that every person that came into our office, God sent them. They could go anywhere. There's lots of chiropractors, there's lots of places that people can go for back pain, headaches, or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
For them to choose our office, I know that God led them. And I wanted to treat them like family. So every person that walks in the office, for me personally, I truly love them like family. And my little girl say, "Mommy used to tell everybody you love them." It's because I do. I really love people. No matter what their background is, I love them and I want to show them love and God's love. So no, I don't know. I mean, that's just
Some people, when they come to the office, it's interesting. They'll meet us, whether it's at a community or an event where we do a workshop. Over the years, I've done hundreds and hundreds of corporate wellness events where I go and I speak on stress management or, science-based nutrition, how we can supplement our diet and those sort of things. That people will come to the office and they'll hear the music, or they'll kind of pick up on that vibe, and they'll ask, "Are you guys Christians?" And when you say yes, you can almost see the relief. They're like, somebody else that knows the secret handshake, so to speak. And that's always been special to know that we can provide a place where people can be themselves and not kind of hold on to their faith as something that they need to hide, because it's so common, in the corporate world that, it's something that you're forced to make that a very personal thing. Where they come here, they know that they can wear their faith right on their sleeves, and we'll love them just the same. It doesn't, regardless of their background or who they are, we take care of folks that are from no faith to Christians to Muslims, you name it. And what the unifying factor is there is we just all respect each other and appreciate each other's presence.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the big thing too, is I've experienced, whether it be like personal training, or right now I do security. I've talked to more people about my faith than I ever have going to church or going to Christian school. You know what I mean? Because there you're in the same place with people that believe the same thing. But now you got people that believe different things and they're questioning you, and they're, some people got mad at me and for no reason, like I've trained people and they would ask me like, "Why do you seem so mellow? Why do you seem so chill all the time?" I was like, "'Cause God's got me." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't worry about too much because it's just not my place to worry. There's things that I do, I'm on my knees praying for and things like that. But I also don't forget, I talked to my brother and his girlfriend last night. I was like, people forget to thank him. They'll pray and pray and pray for something. Then once they get it, it's just, that's it.
Yeah.
Like we forget to give thanks, and we wait till Thanksgiving to try and do that. And I'm thankful, I'm blessed for everything I have every single day.
Yeah.
But talk about your business a little bit. How did you even get into being like a chiropractor?
So for me, it goes back to when I was a child. When I was young, I had a multitude of health struggles, and they were basically all centered around ear infections, sinus infections, respiratory infections. And I'd been to every doctor you can imagine. My parents, they wanted the best for me. So they took me to, all the best doctors in the town that we lived in. And I ended up in a surgeon's office. And when you're in a surgeon's office, you can gather pretty quickly what everybody wants to do, which is surgery. And they were recommending really a threesome of surgeries that were relatively high risk for my age group, being about 9 or 10 years old. And it was at that point that my dad told my mom, he said, well, maybe we should take him to the chiropractor. And his friend at work had been listening to my dad talk about my problems and was saying, just bring your boy to my chiropractor. My dad really dismissed it out of hand, because he was thinking chiropractor, back doctor. Why would I take a boy with ear infections to a back doctor? And he finally turned to my mom and said, well, maybe we should take him there. My mom said, why would we take a kid with ear infections to a back doctor? And they took me. And the chiropractor was able to, through diet and spinal care and lifestyle changes, he was really able to restore my health in a way that none of the other doctors were able to, without drugs or without surgeries. So I was like 9, even 10 years old when I already wanted to be a chiropractor. My friends, they didn't even know what a chiropractor was. My teachers were pretty perplexed by that, but I was in 6th grade, just committed. This is what I'm going to be. So, when I come in contact with high school friends all these years later, they look at me as soon as they, remember who I am. They say, let me guess, you became a chiropractor. So it's always been a lifelong thing for me is being able to share that health, that wellness, help people avoid, drugs and surgeries. Those things are there should they be needed. But I like helping people exhaust all the options before drugs and before surgery.
Right. Okay. And what got you guys to go into business together? Like, you think that would be tough? You see each other all day at home, and then you got to go to work together, and you're just with each other all the time. Like, how does that work out?
She's a saint.
Thank you. I don't know about that.
Well, we met in chiropractic college, and she was from Tennessee. I was from the mountains of Pennsylvania, and I joke around that this was as far north as I could get her, in Delaware. So we opened up the practice, and it's interesting. I know a lot of married couples that just couldn't possibly work together. And that's no indictment of their relationship. My parents had a wonderful marriage, and I highly doubt they would have been able to work together. It just seems to work for us. And I was telling Jimmie just the other day, I was like, boy, I couldn't do this with anybody other than you. This is it's fun with you. It wouldn't be fun without you.
Yeah, I agree. We met. We were best friends for 3 years, and I don't know. He's my best friend, and but we do 2 different things. I think that's important. So he's the best chiropractor. He really is. And then I call him Batman. I'm Robin. I'll do whatever. I'm his sidekick. I'll do whatever else is needed, and we just kind of jive really well together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're partners.
So do you have like boundaries, like John, like you don't like burst into her like area and try and like control what she's doing or say she's doing something wrong. You know what I mean? And then other way around.
No, I've been married long enough to know not to do those sorts of things. Yeah, even the patients will smile and laugh. They know I have a very narrow scope. It's health, it's wellness. If they have a question about a supplement or some sort of medication interaction or, the composition of an intervertebral disc, they know I'm their guy. But they'll begin to ask me a question perhaps about insurance or finances or something along those lines. And they can tell by the look on my face that I get pretty lost pretty quick. So yeah, Jimmie, she runs everything else, which is pretty remarkable. And that's why, quite commonly when the hours go up on the door, I find out about what I'm doing that day right along with the patients.
That's crazy. So starting this business, did you start it together or did you just kind of like hop in as he went along?
Started it together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how was that experience? Was it tough or?
It was interesting. We started the business. We had very early on. When we first opened the practice, we were young, we were ambitious, we had our knowledge, but we had two dilapidated old cars and student loans.
Oh,
So we initially had two business partners, and they financially were able to get the bank loans and those sort of things to open the practice and build out the space. And it was interesting that that partnership with those other individuals, it lasted 9 months. Because when you go into a business partnership with people, you're forced to learn a lot about those people. You learn about the way they treat money. You learn about the way they treat their spouses. And we were just a few months into that business partnership when we found out we didn't like the way our partners behaved with money or their relationships at home. So we, put our shoulder to the wheel and were able to secure the financing to buy them out. And thankfully, it was really a blessing because the practice grew very quickly from that point, and we were still just young people in business as well as in our faith, just trying to find our way.
how young were you? What age were you when you first went into it?
So, like I mentioned, I knew I wanted to be a chiropractor from a very young age.
Hmm.
So every step in my education was strategically placed and timed so that I could get it done as soon as possible. So when I started undergraduate college, I started immediately that summer after high school. So I didn't take summer off. I went right in and
Wow.
I went year round, both undergraduate as well as graduate school. So I was the second youngest student in the chiropractic college that I graduated. What was I, 24?
Mm-hmm.
So 24 when I graduated with my doctorate, and then we were in this practice at I was 25 when I was here. So so kind of young. You really don't know a whole lot other than your education at 25.
Right.
Looking back here at 42, I'm like, wow, I was pretty limited on my knowledge of the world.
And it's like, so I just started a supplement business, and I started it online first before I even try and have open my own store. And I've had people telling me left and right, "Oh, you should go to school for business." I already have student loans. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yep.
I don't want to sit and spend 4 years learning about business, and then when I can learn about it in the world, and that's how I learn
Mm-hmm.
better anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it just being thrown at me and failing?
Yeah, and that's
Mm-hmm.
very commonly the case because in our doctorate degree in our education, they had a couple business courses, but I mean these business courses were being taught by people who'd never run a business.
Hmm.
Very ineffective in terms of really preparing you for what truly running a business is like. So we learned all the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the taxation. We learned all that stuff, the CPAs, the bookkeepers. We learned that all on our own, real time in the world. And I have numerous friends with successful businesses. None of them went to business school, and that's not to indict the education that you get at business
Right.
school. I'm sure it's extremely valuable, but I just know in my little world with the people that I know that own, whether it be a Buffalo Wild Wings or a chiropractic practice, none of them went to business school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy, and that seems to be where this kind of generation of kids and what they're doing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when I hear people complain saying, "Oh, there's no one hiring, there's no one doing anything." I was like, you can literally make money doing anything.
Yeah.
So why not do something that you love to do?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, I I think it's the funniest thing. There's people that make money whispering into a microphone. It's called ASMR. And
Yeah.
people think those sounds are like the coolest, like calmest things. And there's a lady making millions of dollars just doing that.
Yeah.
So it's just proof that you can make money doing anything. And my biggest thing is do something that you love to do. And, I have my job that brings in most of my income on the side. And then before I go there, I do what I love to do. I do my
Yeah.
podcast and I work on my business.
Yeah. It's fantastic. That's, in my opinion, it's the way to do it.
Yeah, you just gotta have the drive. My parents, they worked together. They owned a camera and electronics store for 30 years.
Wow.
So, I saw them work together, two different jobs within their business, but it was a very successful business. My dad did not he didn't get his degree in camera photography. He was an art major. He was an art teacher, but he learned it. So I don't know, I guess being an entrepreneur has always been inside me, and it's fun. I feel like the sky's the limit. You can do anything you want. Just believe and go for it. So that's just kind of how I am.
Yeah.
And it's also important to surround yourself with people who are knowledgeable in specific areas. So, I could try to do the job of a CPA, around here with, tax returns and that sort of thing, or the job of a good bookkeeper. But understanding what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and then having help in those deficiencies is key. Like Jimmie was talking about her father, extremely successful businessman. He, multitude of different businesses, from car washes to electronic stores. And if you ask him for his advice, he will always say, surround yourself with people who are knowledgeable in areas that you aren't.
Like, we're talking about all this success and like how to succeed and all this kind of stuff. But what is one of your most memorable failures? Do you have one?
Gosh, you learn lots of lessons, and there's, when life in general, but especially in business, you're humbled very often. I'm trying to think of one specifically that stands out where I really learned a lesson from. That was profound. You learn lots of little do's and don'ts along the way, and the don'ts are sometimes more powerful than the do's. Never, if you build something, and you work at it. And then this is kind of the other side of the coin where I was talking about surrounding yourself with people who are knowledgeable. As a business or as any type of entity grows, more people are involved with it. And you can sometimes be led to believe that you can't do it without those people. And I can remember a time in practice where our staff had grown rather large, payroll had grown rather large, and you're thinking to yourself, I couldn't possibly do this without these people. But you really need to stop and remember that you did do it without those people. You built whatever it is everybody is there working on. So it's important to always look after the people that are around you, but you never want to be in a position where you feel as though you can't possibly do it without them. I know we found ourselves in that position, and it was not a pleasant one, because it can put you in financial trouble. It can put you in trouble with your confidence. It can put you in trouble with your faith, because you start reacting out of fear, and that never makes anybody better. So that would be one to keep in mind.
What is something that it's one of those things that, if you knew it now, that you would do differently? You know what I'm saying? Like something that you know now that you didn't know when you first started. Looking
back, looking back, I know myself personally, I put myself under a lot of pressure, and like there was a big rush. I was talking about my age at those different times in life. Like, I don't know that that's entirely necessary, and you do miss out on, there's chapters of life that they close on you no matter what, no matter how hard you try to hang on to those. So, sometimes you have to you do have to slow down and say, this doesn't need to happen as fast as I think that it does. That ties right into God's timing, which is very often different than ours. We tend to have a picture of things happening in a very specific set of sequences, but it doesn't always work out like that. And that pressure, that rush, I would advise against.
Yeah, because it was a lack of balance. Like we didn't see our families as much as I think we would have. Um, we just worked and we missed a lot of birthdays, things like, just with our extended families. I know we would have spent more time with family that I wish, we would have been able to do that. So, yeah, definitely more balance.
Yeah, I mean that's funny because that's something that I deal with. I struggle with patience with this stuff. It's something that like I just want to get there. I just want to get there.
Yeah.
It's like something that I know I have to just follow God's plan. Like He has a plan for me. He has something set for me, and I just gotta stay with the course. Stay with the course. And then when something goes bad, it's like I want to quit, but I was like, it'll never get better if you quit.
Yeah.
So it's just, and that's funny, and it's just cool to hear you guys say that because it's something that I really struggle with, is just trying to go fast with everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always joke around. I have a motto, and it's not one to take serious, but it's if it's worth doing, it's worth doing fast. And that's not really
Yeah.
the ideal way to be. Like, and I think sometimes it's a guy thing and just be very, very destination oriented. You hop in the car and just stand on the gas, and we don't stop for bathroom breaks, and quick little splash of gas, and we keep going. But you do have to realize that many times it's that journey. The journey is part of what is the joy, but also what, if you allow it to, can make you a better person.
Yeah, and then I always have to remember, like a big thing for me was, I was putting more time and more effort into trying to build a future, and I wasn't focusing on what I had right in front of me.
Exactly.
It's like I was neglecting people and like my wife and stuff like that, and I was just focusing on. I thought I was doing the right thing, so I was like, "Oh, I'm doing this for us. I'm doing this for." But then I realized like I wasn't focusing on what I have now, and I wasn't balancing that with working for my future.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That balance is, it's really that's the bullseye. That's the hard one to hit. And you constantly have to be correcting your course, because if you're the sort of person that you put your head down and work, it can really, things can rush by pretty quickly. And before you know it, you've missed things that are a one-time deal. So finding that balance, constantly reminding yourself to try to maintain that balance, taking a little time to rest, taking a little time to dedicate towards family, to dedicate towards relationships, because just like that relationship with Christ, you have to nourish it, you have to take time, you have to put effort into it.
Right.
All the other relationships around us are exactly the same way, whether it be a wife or whether it be children, and that's the balancing act. Being good at more than one thing in life, being good at multiple things that matter. I don't want to be somebody who had solid success in an area like business, and then be remembered forever as a miserable father. That would absolutely kill me. So finding that balance is key.
Oh,
Yeah, we
100%.
went years like not taking a vacation, thinking we felt guilty being closed. We had to be there for the patients. And it just led us to just exhaustion and I don't know. I don't know why we felt guilty taking off for vacation. But finally we reached a point where like, no, we have to take a break. And once we did, we're like, oh my word. Because you have to reset, and you can't be 100% when you're just exhausted. And then starting to feel like when people talk about their vacations, you're like, I wish that could be me. Well, it can. You just have to take a break. It'll be okay. And when we come back from a break, people can tell we're refreshed, we're ready to go, we're energized. But that was I don't know how long. What was it, like 10 years?
It was
crazy.
Yeah, years and years of focus. And it's dangerous because you can end up beginning to resent what it is you're working on and trying to build. And people will notice it. You'll develop an energy that's repellent. People won't want to be around you, whether it's in a coworker capacity or even a client, client business owner type capacity. And so rest, and taking a little bit of time to get some perspective. Very, very important.
Yeah, I mean that's a funny thing too, because I've noticed that in my life, and when we started, we're big Disney addicts. So yeah, I have a problem with Disney, but I just like, we love it so much. It's just like when we go, we stay for 2 weeks, and it just clears our heads immensely, and we come back refueled and refocused. And it's a struggle because this year we ended up not going, and it's just like, okay, what is our break or whatever? So like, just me and my wife just constantly just talk, because she's working from home, so she's like dealing with having to be stuck at home all the time. My job's considered essential, so I get to go to work, and I get to be outside all day. So
Yeah.
no matter what the weather, I'm outside. I love being outside. It's refreshing and all those things.
Sure.
And it's just I pick apart the little things, and I see them as getaways. I see them as, all right, this is a relief. This is, and that's what working out is. That's what I try and tell people, like, whether it be walking, whether it be yoga, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, do something,
Mm-hmm.
get you
Yeah.
going. Like, are you guys still working out at all?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try to at least get, for me, it's that minimum of 3 days a week of a real workout.
Yeah.
Little bit of time on the treadmill, some weights. I'll tell my wife, it'll be the end of a long day. I'll still have some paperwork, and I'll put it down. I say, I gotta go pick something up and put it down at least a
Right.
few times,
Oh, yeah.
before we go home. And you got to get new blood, fresh blood in the brain. And I once had somebody, I was listening to a pastor, and he was talking about a friend who was going through a hard time. And his friend asked him, do you want to go for a walk? And the guy responded, a walk? I'm in spiritual warfare here. What do you mean? And the guy said, well, I'm not talking about warfare. I'm just talking about a walk.
Yeah.
Sometimes, sometimes you just have to get some fresh blood in the brain, that quick 30, 40 minutes of space and ability to have some perspective.
It's interesting too. During the pandemic, the kids were at home. I don't know, for a month or a couple months. So during their what they call brain breaks, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 15 minutes. We would get them on their bikes, and we would go right around the block as many times as we could in the amount of time, and then they would. So they really helped me to, just take any minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and it really made a difference for us and our family just to get outside. You don't have if you don't have a bike, you can walk, do some push-ups, whatever. But we did do some exercise or activity, so it was a good time.
Yeah, and then like for me, my dog does it for me. My dog gets me outside and going no matter what the weather is. She, because she needs the exercise. So I'm like, all right, let's go to the park, and then we do our little walk and stuff. She won't even play with the other dogs because she wants to be with me and do our walk that we always do. And then I come home and lift something heavy and throw things around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but sometimes you just need that. But what are some things that you would tell someone? Like, I know you said surround yourself with people that know things other than what you know. What is something that's put like specific to your career and your business that you would tell them?
Like a specific type of person that I personally would keep around in my business or have near me in my business, like a specific area of knowledge that I don't know about.
Yeah.
Definitely the business oriented things. In other words, CPA, bookkeeper, Bookkeeping is a big one because you can really miscategorize things and cause issues for yourself as well as your CPA. So those are two things where basically it comes down to, crunching the numbers and knowing the tax code. I can't possibly know those things well enough to do some sort of online tax program or something like that. So having those people has been absolutely invaluable.
For me, it's outreach or marketing, however you want to put it. I like calling it outreach or ministry, reaching people. I am not tech savvy, so I like to get ideas from different people with our website, with just different fun activities we can do in the office to perhaps help people to think of family members that have never had their spine checked or that are suffering, and kind of reach out to them just like we do when we're sharing our faith, but to share health and wellness with people that are around them suffering. And so yeah, I like to surround myself, because that's just kind of like my thing. I love going out in the community, meeting people, talking with them one-on-one, kind of like we are today, and really sitting down and helping them individually. He's great with groups. I get a little nervous with groups. I really love one-on-one coffee talks. So yeah, I get lots of great ideas. Even my dad, like, his market wasn't chiropractic, but it's the same. We'll still go back and forth with different ideas that he did when he was my age, reaching his community, that I can do. It's just a different product.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
So with your journey in faith, what are some kind of like resources that have helped you in like the times that you felt down? You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of times I get a way where, that doubt comes in, no matter how much like I pray about it, like I still feel that doubt. But then, I don't physically go to church. I watch the Elevation Church on YouTube with Pastor Stephen Furtick, and everything he says just hits me in my soul. Like, he just has a way of saying it, and I feel like that's my resource, and that's what a lot of times I'll turn to that to really just like wake me up. Like, do you have something like that?
Yeah, you nailed it. Pastor Furtick is a go-to for us.
Oh, wow, okay.
He has a gift. Yeah. For me, Dr. David Jeremiah,
Okay.
I get daily devotions. So first thing in the morning, I'm still laying in bed, my alarm goes off, I'll read his daily devotion, which is really just sets my mind before I even put my feet on the floor. So I love that. Do you have anything?
Yeah, Pastor Stephen, amazing. We'll do that very, very commonly, but every now and again, I have to go to church. Like I have to sit in church. I have to look around at the people who are older than me and be like, they're still doing it. They're still fighting the good fight. They're real. They're in my life. I can, they're kind of the people that I look up to, so to speak, spiritually, kind of my spiritual parents, if you will. So looking around, being a part of that energy, getting in the building. Me personally, I have to do that. My wife, she's much better with online and doing some of the online church services. But yeah, for me personally is or grabbing lunch with somebody who is further along in their faith walk, so to speak. I can remember growing up with sports, and I always wanted to engage in sports with people who were better than me, so that they could make me better if they were faster or whatever it might be. So sitting down with somebody who is just, maybe a decade ahead in their faith walk, and grab a quick breakfast with them, whether it be a pastor or somebody who is, somebody I've known for a long time. But yeah, kind of getting either knee to knee with somebody who is pretty wise, or spending a little bit of time in church and just seeing people really, they're still doing it.
For me, I'm sorry. And another thing I do, I pray all the time. When I find myself thinking things that I know aren't God's words, whether it's doubt or, I know that's not how he speaks. I'll immediately have like a prayer room, like in the office, there's a room I'll just go to, shut the door, and I just pray, or I'll call my sister and we'll pray together. So even if she doesn't know my specific need, I'm like, I just need strength or whatever it is that I need that day. So I have people that I go to and just call over the phone and we pray together, because when two or more are together, mountains can be moved. Yeah. And I just feel strength just having another like-minded person praying with me.
So I like to kind of end these things talking about, what is your mindset? What is your motivation? Just moving forward with everything, like with your personal life, with your business. Do you have any specific goals that you're trying to reach? Because you guys have come so far with your business. It's crazy. And just speak on that a little bit.
Go ahead.
Personal goals would be continuing to improve my continuing to work on my walk of faith. I always want to try to be a better dad, to my kids. But ultimately with the practice and with the business is continuing to be the doctor or the practitioner that people want to be around. When I wake up in the morning, one of the prayers I commonly have is, Lord, make me the person that people want to be around and want time from and want care from. Allow me to be, the service that they need in their life. So kind of improving in that realm, as well as always continuing to try to be a better dad and then also deepen my faith.
Okay. What about you, Jimmie?
Same. I want to be there for my children. So I'm kind of my passion is being here for the patients, the office, but my passion's kind of going as the kids get older. They need me more. So I definitely want to increase that role and be there for them a little bit more. But really just what he says in the morning, my prayer is that God will give him wisdom, like my husband, and for healing in the office, just for God's healing. And so I don't know, the same, continue to what we're doing. I just kind of want to be more of the mom role eventually. Yeah, that's my goal.
That's awesome, guys. And again, I appreciate you so much for doing this. It means a lot to me.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, and you guys just keep doing what you're doing. You guys are a great couple, great people, and I'm glad like I ran into you all those years ago, and I got to train you when you were pregnant.
Yes, you did.
That actually helped me get that job.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was awesome.
I continued.
Yeah.
You were my first pregnant trainer.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome, guys. All right, I'll see you around, and thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Have a great day.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Merry Christmas. Bye.